Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. So let's get straight into this topic here. This is the show I want to take my time on. So one of our viewers sent me a message this morning saying that Mase shouted you out on It Is What It Is. So I tuned into the show. This is the show that they published today. In case you guys want to watch it, the name of the title on their channel is called Spurs Blow Out the Wolves in Game 5. LeBron and LA Future. Do we think his legacy has been tarnished? So that's the episode that they're referring to, right? So I tuned into it and I started watching it and I saw the part where he mentioned me and all of that. And that was towards the midway point. So I just kept on listening from that point forward because it's like a long show, like over an hour. Then it got to the part where they were talking about LeBron's legacy. Now, I want to give you guys the backdrop before we get into the audio here. Mase and Cam kind of had a back and forth about a week or so ago on this GOAT debate. But Mase did something that I got to say has really surprised me. Mase is saying something that a lot of people are saying or thinking, but no one is saying in the mainstream or like with a big name, which is a lot of people out there speculate, is LeBron using some kind of performance enhancers? We've even done shows where Rick Bucher has said that it is common knowledge in the NBA that he's using something. He even did a show recently poking fun at him, suggesting he's using HGH. These are what these guys are saying, right? And we've done, and I've seen shows where people try to bring it up, like on the Dan Le Batard show, he tried to bring it up. It started a big conversation. But this seems to be like a no-go area in sports media. Like, you can't even talk about it. Which now brings us to Mase. Mase did a show, which we did about 2 weeks ago, where he kind of said, like, LeBron, he hinted like there's reason to speculate here. And he said this. He said that if he had time, he would sit down and really bring out all of his evidence. That's what he said. Now get this. Today I tune into the show. Mase is talking. And then him and Cam start going back and forth. And Cam has said, to be fair, Cam has said that Michael Jordan is his favorite player of all time. Cam has said, he even said it today. Although he wants to play the devil's advocate role of arguing from the standpoint of maybe a LeBron supporter making his goal. So that's the standpoint that Cam is on. But it's not really about Cam. It's about what Mase said here. Then Mase starts to talk. And you guys should go watch this on their show. And he really begins to double down on this idea of alleged steroid use. And I'm saying to myself, this guy he doesn't care. He does not care. Take a look at this. Take a look at Cam and Mase go back and forth on this issue here.
Yeah, this is a perfect segue, pausing to what it is I probably wanted to talk about at a much later date. The thing that you're talking about is what I pay attention to, is what Cam mentions, and sometimes it gets lost in the conversation, right? Because LeBron has the stats. That's why I used Obama. He has better stats. He has better stats when it comes to certain things versus Martin Luther King. But on impact alone, he's not. Why? Because it took less and less time this was done, right? I measure greatness on the timing it took you or the resources it takes you to do something, right? That's what makes something greater for me. If it takes you 40 years and you get more done, great. But if this person was able to do and be in a conversation with you with only 10 years or only 5 years, I'm just giving you the concept of where I'm getting this from. That tells me this is greater. Why? It took less to do it. Or let me give you another thing that I'm speaking of. Let's say, and you speaking of us like as rappers, right? Let's say Cam has a great legacy. I have a great legacy. And this other guy has a greater legacy than us. But if we figure out that he was, doing some inappropriate things and that helped him to get what he got, then you're not as great, even though people think you're great, because come to find out, like we're watching people's legacy now. If it comes out that you did all of these things, we have to conclude that into the legacy conversation. And at that point, I don't think you're great if you had to have a boyfriend to get to that level in rap. I don't think you're great if you were sitting on men laps and in jacuzzis with men to get to that level. I can't deem that as great, especially when other people just did their own writing or did their own rapping. That's a total different level of greatness to me. And I know we're living in a world that it seems like things come out later and it makes sense. But to me, that's where I'm speaking from. I'm speaking from the aspect of the people who put in the work, that didn't play the political games, that didn't do things behind the scene to make things what they are on the scene. That's where I'm speaking from, and I know that's a coded statement, but it's a lot of truth behind that. It's coming out now that, that these guys got home runs, but they was on this, or this person was doing this. That's why he's there. That's not the same greatness. So when you hear me speaking, that's where I'm speaking from. I'm not speaking from just like hating on somebody or trying to belittle somebody's legacy. If we think we're measuring it on basketball alone, but it's not on basketball alone, then I can't weigh that the same. It's just not the same, not for me. And that's never going to change for me.
I don't know where you went with it, but to answer your question, Mo, is
that's why the intelligence thing, because it was clear what I said.
Intelligence because you went all over the place.
No, that wasn't all over the place. That was all strategically line upon line.
Nah, he asked you like what made. Because, it seems like you keep trying to say LeBron is on steroids. That's what it seems like.
No, I'm saying there's other things that goes into the
It seems like you're trying to belittle my intelligence
basketball.
At the same time when you keep saying it's an intelligence thing. It just seems like...
Yeah, if you can't get wrong. that is an intelligence.
Nah, maybe our intelligence is at two different levels, but you keep saying it's like the third time you said today it's an intelligence thing. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? that you're more intelligent than me? If you feel that way...
No, not it's not you. It's anybody that can't get the conversation. That's what intelligence is. If you're saying 1 + 1 is 2. If somebody say he has 2 and he has 2, the next person should say together that's 4. That's
your logic. It's not an intelligence thing. It's more about
facts.
That's your logic.
All
that's because to me, I'm just saying, it's just a debate. I'm not beefing. I'm just saying, to me, Mason was like, you went into a whole spill about rapping and writing, and I understand that you went through a lot of shit, so I understand where you're coming from.
So I know a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that you don't know a lot, but we was talking about why LeBron isn't connecting with as far as like somebody Michael Jordan or Allen Iverson was. So when you did all that, I still kind of didn't understand what was your point on why he's not connecting with people.
Because I used the analogy, and that this is great. I used the analogy of rap because it's the same reason why some rappers connect more. They did certain things behind the scene, which is making them connect more, but it's not just based upon their talent. It's the other thing, it's the smoke and mirrors that make the attention get shifted to something else, and then it becomes a part of their legacy when really the real thing that we're talking about is not the thing that's pumping them up to this place. Like, for an example, and that could seem like all over the place, like somebody like LeBron, we're asking a conversation about basketball, but then it'll turn into what he does for his niggas and what he did for the school. But we're not asking about the school. We're asking about basketball. We're not asking about nothing else. But then when the conversation goes forward, that's what people turn it into. All the other things. When we talk about Michael Jordan, we're talking about basketball. We're not talking about his gambling. We're not talking about his dad getting killed. We're talking about basketball, not anything else outside of that. And that's how the goalpost keeps getting moved. That's why I use the example of Obama, because Obama is great because of being a black guy and all these other things that get pushed into the conversation. But if we're talking about leadership is about where you were able to take the people and the adversity you went through to get them there. And did you get them to the place you promised them? And that's why I use Martin Luther King, because he brought us to the place he promised us.
So you heard what they had to say. What are my thoughts about this? Mase is doing something that millions of fans out there are congratulating him for, which is you are seeing somebody that is a known person, a celebrity, a known person, publicly asking the question that a lot of people are afraid to say, and a lot of people are thinking. A lot of people are thinking this. It's just kind of like murmurs and whispers. But he has this fearlessness, like he don't care. Now I'm gonna tell you why I think Mase has this fearlessness, this is just my observation from afar, because I don't know Mase, so I don't want to act like as if no. I'm just gonna give you guys my observation from afar. What would lead a person in Mase's position on a very successful podcast show, sports show, to say this, knowing that he's going against the grain? Few things. Number one, he probably just annoyed with what he sees going on with all of the twerking going on by people. And he's like, yo, like, is nobody going to say this? Is nobody going to say this? Is nobody seeing the obvious? I think that's one thing. Second thing, I think it's because of his past. If you know anything about Mase in his past, I'm talking about music now. Mase has been in some real situations and been connected to some really serious situations, right? So I think when you have that kind of past and you've seen real life drama, there's a fearlessness that you have where things like this, where you're just speaking your mind and asking a question, it doesn't scare you. Number three, most people that are afraid to speak out do so because of what they are afraid of losing. Let me repeat. Most people that are afraid to speak out are afraid to do so because of what they are afraid to losing. And I get the impression, just by looking at this guy, that he doesn't care whether you rock with him or not. He doesn't care if you want to be his friend or not. You're looking at somebody that's cool in their own skin and is willing to speak the truth to power. That's what I think is going on here. Because what he's doing is courageous, because most people won't do it. Most people will just tuck their tails and run for the hills. They'll act like I said, what? I don't know what you're talking about, man. I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm going to say this. If y'all keep messing with this guy, I think he's going to start saying some real stuff out here. And trust me, what he's saying is being heard. What he is saying is being recorded. Not recorded, but like people are taking notice of it. The people that don't want people like this, because people like myself and other podcasters, we're not celebrities. We're not, we're not, known people like that. So we say something, nobody gives a damn. And even if we're saying the truth, nobody's gonna write about it or say anything about it or do shows about it. But if people like this with notoriety say it, they take notice, because the last thing they want is somebody with that level of notoriety saying something like that. Now, some people will come at Mase and say, oh, Mase trying to do, just knock it off. Like, knock it off. Son, like at the end of the day, he's Mase. Like, Mase been famous for a minute. Mase been famous going on 3 decades. 3 decades. Like, Mase ain't no dude looking to clout chase and do all of that. And nah. Mase is Mase. So I don't think there's any of that going on. I just think it's somebody that's not willing to play the media game and is just saying what they truly, truly believe. And bro, he not backing down. And what I suggest is y'all leave him alone. Leave him alone. Because I think if people keep pressing this dude, he gonna take it there. Because he doesn't strike me as somebody that is afraid to say his piece. And trust me, those that are in power are not happy that he's saying this. So the best thing they should do is just leave him alone. Just leave him alone and don't poke the bear. But he's not going for these media games that these guys are trying to play. And I appreciate him for that. Shout out to Mase for that.